Good morning, everyone. Today's Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. We're here this morning for our Administrative Matters meeting. I call this meeting to order, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. I'm Kristen Stevens, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and with me are my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally and Commissioner John Kafalis. From the clerk's office, helping us with note-taking today, we have Diane Cheney. We have our county manager, Lorinda Volker, Tom Clayton from Public Affairs, and Sarah Martin from the Commissioner's office. So welcome to all of you. We will begin with our public comment this morning. We have one person signed up, that's Cindy Buckhart. Cindy, we'll have you come up and introduce yourself. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Cindy Buckhart, President of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation. As I have been coming to visit you for the past several weeks, I feel as if my voice has gone unheard. You pacify the Larimer County 4-H Foundation by stating that you feel 4-H is important, but yet you have not wavered in your decision about allowing the foundation the use of the Larimer County buildings at the ranch. Why is that? How can you sit there and say you support 4-H and yet you have allowed the Larimer County 4-H Foundation to be removed from the premises? I remind you that if it were not for the Larimer County 4-H Foundation, you may not have a ranch complex. It was the Larimer County 4-H Foundation that promoted the facility and sales tax revenue to the voters of Larimer County. How is it that the Larimer County 4-H Foundation is removed for noncompliance when other events have taken place that violate the ranch policies? A 4-H club selling food at an event, trade shows that have cottage food vendors, the junior livestock sale, or even your very own pancake breakfast. Every one of these are worthwhile events, but so are the events of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation. How many organizations in the last 3 years have been permanently removed from the use of the ranch facilities, similar to what has happened to the 4-H Carnival? As an elected official, you took an oath of office to perform the duties of the office of County Commissioner. Doesn't this mean that you will represent the citizens of Larimer County and their wishes? According to the Colorado Constitution, Article 29, Ethics of Government, it is your responsibility to carry out your duties for the benefit of the people. Removing the foundation from the ranch facilities is definitely not a benefit to the people, but rather a detriment. Have you sought out your constituents and asked about their thoughts of the removal of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation from the use of the ranch facilities? I bet not, because you all know what the answer would be. The citizens of Larimer County have no idea that this has occurred, so it is time they find out. Not only does the foundation suffer from this removal, but what about all those 4-H members and volunteers it supports? You all have attended the Larimer County 4-H Carnival and have seen the attendance. Those in attendance are citizens of Larimer County. Many have no affiliation to 4-H. What are the citizens of this county going to think when they find out that the 67th annual carnival is in jeopardy of occurring because the county commissioners are not allowing the foundation the use of the ranch facilities for allowing cottage vendors at their 66th carnival? It was unknown at the time of the carnival that a couple of the vendors were cottage certified, as the foundation did not seek out this information prior to the carnival. Therefore, the foundation was unaware. The foundation, following the carnival, had met to make changes to their vendor application for 2026, but never had the opportunity to implement. These vendors have received certification from the Larimer County Health Department, and yet other events have occurred at the ranch that have included cottage vendors, and they have not been removed. This certainly sounds personal and not an objective decision. If the foundation paid for the facilities, would I be standing here today? I doubt it.
Thank you, Cindy. Is there anyone else in the audience who wanted to give public comment today? Sarah, was there anyone who wanted to call in with public comment?
No, Commissioner.
Okay, then we'll close public comment, bring it back to the commissioners. Any response from the commissioners? Commissioner Kafalis?
Just wish to acknowledge the many contributions of the 4-H Foundation, and that there has been extensive communication over the last couple of years to find a path forward. So I don't think we're ignoring things.
Thank you, Commissioner. With that, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is approval of the minutes. And Commissioner Shattuck McNally, I'll ask you to make that motion, please.
Certainly, Madam Chair. I move to approve the minutes for the week of September 22nd, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes 3-0, and we'll move on to Sarah with our upcoming schedule review.
This is the Commissioner schedule for October 6th through the 12th, 2025. On Monday, October 6th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be a meeting regarding the Children's Campaign in the Lake Estes Conference Room on the 3rd floor. From 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual opioid abatement advisory group meeting. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the 2nd floor. On Tuesday, October 7th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the 1st floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the 2nd floor. On Wednesday, October 8th, from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Workforce Development Board meeting at the Hartside Hill Community Building at 6514 Brittany Street in Fort Collins. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Colorado State University President's Fall Address at 701 Oval Drive in Fort Collins. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual National Association of Counties Rural Action Caucus. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual National Association of Counties Environment, Energy, and Land Use Committee meeting. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session regarding House of Representatives 1, H.R. 1, Federal Impacts on Human Services in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the 2nd floor. From 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the UC Health Caring for Our Community meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Medical Center of the Rockies at 2500 Rocky Mountain Avenue in Loveland, or virtually via Microsoft Teams. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally will attend the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Commission Community Dinner at the Lorry State Park at Soldier Canyon Picnic Area at 708 Lodge Pole Drive in Bellevue. On Thursday, October 9th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the State Emergency Medical and Trauma Services Advisory Council quarterly meeting at Steamboat Grand at 2300 Mount Werner Circle in Steamboat Springs. On Friday, October 10th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the State Emergency Medical and Trauma Services Advisory Council quarterly meeting at Steamboat Grand at 2300 Mount Werner Circle in Steamboat Springs. On Saturday, October 11th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may host story time at the Larimer County Farmers Market at 200 West Oak Street in Fort Collins. On Sunday, October 12th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery Free Day and Teen Self-Care Fair at 408 Mason Court in Fort Collins.
Thank you, Sarah. Any corrections? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sarah, thank you, as always, for your great work, and along with Melissa, who is so diligent with our calendar. I wanted to add, I just hadn't put on my calendar, I had RSVP'd also to the CSU's President's Fall Address at 11 to 12. I'll probably just put my other meeting in my ear, but I'll be there. And I probably won't stay. Well, go ahead and put me for the picnic, but I'll probably head over to the other meeting I have at noon. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kafalis, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, colleagues. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. The only thing I would add is that on Wednesday, October 8th, it's a tight schedule, but from 12 to 1, I will be addressing the Fort Collins Rotary Club, discussing things like the transportation initiative and other matters.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right. I do not have any corrections, so we will move on to our consent agenda. So under abatements, we have 14 abatements or refund of taxes, either for year tax year 2024 or 2023. There's more information on those online if you wish to look at those. We have one appointment, so recommended appointment to the Berthoud Community Library District Board of Trustees. That is for reappointing Amanda Thorstensen to a full term appointment, and that term will begin January 1st, 2026, and end December 31st, 2029. Of one liquor license renewal, that's for Lakeside KOA in Fort Collins, and that is a fermented malt beverage and wine liquor license. There are 12 miscellaneous items. The first is a decommissioning bond. That is approving a replacement bond between CBEP Solar 3, LLC, Great Midwest Insurance Company, and the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County. The replacement bond changes the surety from Philadelphia Indemnity Insurance Company to Great Midwest Insurance Company. We have 9 notice of liens. These are all include a letter notifying of bills which accrue as the result of management that's done by Larimer County on noxious weeds, which were mandated for control. And if unpaid, they shall become a lien against the property of the landowners. So there are 9 of those, and there again, more information on those are online. We have the Larimer County Community Advisory Board bylaws. The Community Advisory Board has been established by the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners and operates under the authority of these bylaws. And then one request to vacate the Board of Equalization's decision for account R1634937. This is based on procedural irregularities and directs that a new hearing be set. We have one policy on our consent agenda. This is a human resources policy for benefits, deleting references to race and gender related deferment action plans as they are no longer required by the federal government. We have 2 resolutions. The first is a resolution extending the deadline for hearing referees on behalf of the Larimer County Board of Equalization. This extends the conclusion of the Board of Equalization's hearings and the referee recommendations to the Board of Equalization until October 21st, 2025. They had a lot of hearings to schedule and needed some additional time. And then finally, our last resolution is establishing the Community Advisory Board. This will be establishing the Community Advisory Board and sunsetting the Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity Board. So that is all for our consent agenda. Would either commissioner want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Okay, then I will ask Commissioner Kofalis to make a motion on this item.
Yes, I move to approve the consent agenda for September 30th, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on any of these items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. We will move on to our discussion items. So our first discussion item is approval of the Board of Equalization referee recommendations submitted by Elizabeth Carter and Deirdre O'Neill from the Recording Department at the Clerk and Recorder's Office. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, I'll ask you to move us into to convening as the Board of Equalization, and then we'll have Deirdre come up and talk to us about the recommendations.
Certainly, Madam Chair. I move to convene as the Board of Equalization.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Further discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes 3-0. So Deirdre, welcome. Good to see you. And let us know what we're recommending here.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you? Deirdre O'Neill and Elizabeth Carter from the Clerk and Recorder's Office. I'm here to give you a brief summary of the Board of Equalization hearings that took place between September 18th, 2025 through September 23rd, 2025. There were a total of 45 accounts, including real property, mobile homes, business personal property, oil and gas, severed mineral rights, and possessory interest accounts. There were a total of 281 hearings that were conducted during this time frame. 311 accounts were adjusted. Of those, 154 accounts were stipulated changes. And again, stipulated change is when there's an agreement between the assessor's office and the petitioner before the hearing takes place. 94 accounts were denied. The year-to-date percentage of change is minus 12.8%. And I can explain a little bit more about that. On the previous page, you can see the percentage of change was minus 14.21%. That change is the ones I just mentioned that happened between September 18th and September 23rd. The year to date would include the ones that were presented to you by Elizabeth from last week. So every week you're going to see the percentage of change from the ones that were presenting and then the addition of the ones previously. I also have some data for you if you are interested on some comparison years of valuation, on valuation years, honestly. So the would be 2019, 2021, and 2023. 2023 really was an anomaly. We probably, hopefully, will never see years like that again. We had over 4,400 accounts, 2,700 hearings, and just over 31 accounts that were adjusted, the 70.1%, and with a total change of 6.1%. In 2021, we scheduled a little over 1,300 accounts, 534 hearings were heard, and 650 counts were adjusted, or 49.4%, with a total value change of 3.5%. Then in 2019, and I would say this year, really, that's the one I would say would be the most comparable, the 2019, because we scheduled a total in that year of 2,087 accounts, 1,401 hearings, and 1,237 accounts were adjusted at 59.2%, with a total value change of 5.5%. I can tell you, as of this morning, for the 2025, we have scheduled, just to compare it with that 2019, 2,710 accounts. So again, that is my brief summary. We will continue to be here every Tuesday, Administrative Matters, to give you the summary from the week before. And then, as you know, at the end, we will give you a total presentation of all the adjusted denials and that percentage of change.
Perfect.
I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Thanks, Deirdre. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you both, Elizabeth, Deidre, for your work, and I appreciate you bringing the historical perspective as well. I think it's really helpful and to understand the changes. I know you can't, there's still a lot of changes through all those years.
Sure.
You really can't pair, it's not apples to apples, but I know it's a lot of work, but if you wouldn't mind, could we get that in a brief email, some of that data that you just read out, or is that kind of in this report here that you?
It should be on the last page.
Last page?
If you see previous year data. Oh, do they not have it on theirs? I apologize.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
I was like, I could have missed it.
Oh,
That's
I'm
important.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
But yes,
So,
we can send that to you.
That would be great.
Sure.
And again, this is very complex, diligent work, and a lot of details. And I just want to thank you both and for your expertise and your years of tireless service doing this. And I just appreciate you coming and sharing this every week. So I'm grateful for both of you. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank
And
you,
your whole
Commissioner.
team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cavalas, questions? Please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, Deirdre, just to say thank you to you and your team for your due diligence and presenting this information.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you, Deirdre. Thank you for bringing the historical data. We had asked Elizabeth last week to do that, and I appreciate that. It's hard. We're still early in the process to really see where we're at. It looks like in previous years, if I got my numbers right, we're always somewhere between 3.5% to roughly 6% is what the change is, and I guess 12% feels high, but that could change also within the next couple of weeks, because we have till, what did I say, October 21st? Isn't that how long hearings have been extended to? So no necessarily cause for alarm at all, and we expect some variance in this as we move along. So, but the data is really helpful to have. I appreciate that. So, with that, any further questions before we make the motion on this? All right. Then, Commissioner Cavalas, I'll ask you to make the motion on the recommendations.
Yes, thank you. I move to approve the recommendations submitted by the Board of Equalization referee for the hearings held September 18th, 2025 through September 23rd, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Thank you,
Thank you very
Deirdre.
much, Commissioners.
Thank you. And then Commissioner Cavallis, one last motion to adjourn us and move us back into the Board of County Commissioners.
I move to adjourn the meeting of the Board of Equalization and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes 3-0. So we are now reconvened as the Board of County Commissioners, and we'll move on with our agenda. So our final item of discussion this morning is adoption of updated Larimer County road naming and addressing system resolution. So submitted by Greg Turnbull from Information Technology and Christine Day, and Larimer County's Christine Day from Information Technology and Larimer County's addressing coordinator. So welcome to both of you, and we'll let
Thank you very much. Okay. We just have a couple brief slides just to share. All right. Perfect. As you mentioned, Greg Turnbull with the IT department, Christine Day.
Christine Day, Geospatial Services
And
addressing.
yes, an important component of this. First, we're just really excited to be here. First off, it's been a long road. A lot of work went into this. Christine, William, who's in the audience, a lot of work that's come to pass. But the main reason we're here, as you mentioned, is to make an update. So from 2006 to 2025, a lot has changed. And one thing that hasn't changed for a long time has been this resolution that we've been working under as the addressing team at Larimer County. The previous resolution, it was intended to support continued work on this rural addressing project. Very complex and confusing to work through and work with. And we realized that over time that a lot of alignment was needed to make it a better working document. So as I said, it's been nearly 20 years, and one of the things we really needed was clarity, efficiency, and greater ties to public safety. So we did a lot of work on this resolution. Myself, Christine, and William in the audience. It's smaller, and that's one thing. Mark Twain said that if I can write you a long letter, it means I didn't have enough time to write you a short one. It's better organized. It has a better job doing definitions to set the tone, to set working definitions, and we made some big additions for procedures to help us do the work that we need to as the county, both for assigning, changing road names, the road name signage, how we number or address the parcels, and the big ones being the request to deviate and an appeals process. So highlighting that request to deviate, there is when we can do it, when those property owners, they disagree with something that the county's put forward, how this is officially done, the review and what it takes, how we engage with our public safety partners, with LEDA, and how that decision takes place, and how it's how most of the communication is done with both the property owners and the impacted owners along the roads. So that wasn't in place in the original resolution, and it led to a lot of confusion, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of work that Christine had to kind of set up from scratch. And I really look to her and give her a lot of credit on both of these processes and procedures. Did you want to note anything?
No, I just think that what we put in place will make it much more understandable to the property owners and make it much more clear. And I would expect we would have less requests to deviate and appeals than we've had in the past because it's just more clear.
The next step in the process usually is when a request to deviate has been denied, and that is an appeal and how that can be done. That too was not very well outlined in the original resolution, and that's something that's taken a lot of work. Again, thank you, William, for helping us in this space and really tying it and aligning it to some of the already existing work that the county does in this space. So the use of the official form, including making sure that all the information captured in the request to deviate is passed on through to the appeals process. That the whole time the communication is outlined how we're communicating with the requester, with the property owners that are impacted, and again, how it lands up in an appeal in front of the commissioners. Like I said, one of the big things that wasn't in place and it was this public safety alignment. And a lot of work's been done from start to finish to put that in place. I just went one example. This Engine 71 comes up all the time. Looking at the map, if you look on the left, that's the path taken when there was a fire, when the water truck headed south, and everyone else that needed that water headed due west. Or actually, I apologize, due is it due west? Due east. There's just a lot of these examples in answering the call to get there on time that are impacted when there's bad directions and bad routing that take place. And we as the county, we hate to see that. So we want to do our best to try to make sure that the addressing supports these public safety folks. So the new resolution, we work with our partners to identify addressing areas of concern that could lead to misroutes. We worked with LEDA to align our addressing resolution to the one that they have, the documents that they work off of. One of the big examples was, when do you actually have to name a road? And that's two address properties being on that road is when the road needs a name. And before there was 3 and there was 2 and there was a lot of other numbers thrown around, but just having that one alignment is an example of how we can align to LEDA. And then if that request to deviate is made, how we invite the public service agencies into the conversation and really get guidance from them to state, hey, is this something that really needs to be done to help avoid some of the circumstances or the situations that I showed. But that's just the high level. There's a lot of work and details in this document. Again, I thank Christine and I do thank William, who's in the audience, for all the work that's been put forth for this.
Thank you, Greg. Are there any questions for Christine or Greg about the resolution? I just want to thank you for your work. I know that this is, there's been a lot of work here. We always appreciate a more succinct document that really gives more clarity, and so good work on that. And of course, working with the legal team, you often get that, that they learn to write to make things clear so that. But just thank you for centering this around public safety. I think that that's really important for the public to understand, is that we're not doing this willy-nilly or because we want to have some kind of control over your road or what your road is named. It really is about making sure that public safety vehicles can get to a place. And that's for the safety for the people who live there, and also for the first responders. I can't imagine how frustrating that would have been to get to the wrong address when, your whole life is dedicated to helping people survive traumatic experiences and live and rescuing people. To go to the wrong space, is really difficult. And then, of course, for the people who live there, it's really important that that your loved ones stay safe. So, this is really good work. It's really important. I know there have been some folks have not been as happy to have that happen, but I think centering this in public safety and aligning with LEDA and others is just really, really important. So thank you for your very good work. It is very important. What you're doing is helping people stay safe in our community, and honestly providing some logic to the way our streets and roads are named, right? We don't need to, and everybody wants to live on Big Bear Road, let's face it, but not everybody can live on Big Bear Road. Some people need to live on Little Bear Road. So thank you for your work. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I guess I didn't realize we can make comments. I didn't have any questions, but I do want to echo a lot of Commissioner Stevens' comments. This has been a long process for a few years now, and you have all worked diligently with all of our partners, especially our first responders, and trying to understand the importance of public safety. As you said, you shared one example, but we have other examples of lives that were in danger and threatened, and not really the best outcomes that first responders would like to see. We would all not like to see. I know you have all looked at this and found ways to make a good process that seems fair and transparent. And I want to thank Bill Rousseau for helping us through this. His expertise and his diligence is was so critical with this. And I know both of you have really worked through this, trying to make sure we're doing this the best way possible. I think this has been 4 years of work. And so I just want to thank you for your perseverance and hanging in there and getting this done. I think it is when I look back.
Wait a minute.
I would rather you not have said that.
Sorry. Well, it's been a lot, but I just wanted to say I see that and value that, and I'm glad we're to a point. I mean, I think the old resolution was several years old, and so this is good that we're updating it. And as we face this growth and things changing, and it's important that we have this, and also it's kind of a model or a way for the whole county to look at this as we work with our partners, because I know even other towns have certain roads that are very interesting, and I've driven on a lot of those roads up there that are very similar. That you better know where you're going. So, and I appreciate that, because I do think we have to ensure the best response times and make sure folks are getting the help they need when they need it. So thank you for bringing this today. I'm excited to have this come to conclusion, and I look forward to seeing it in action, and appreciate, again, the diligence and the perseverance. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Collis, anything to add? Go ahead, please.
Sure, why not? I agree with everything they said, and want to express our collective gratitude for all the hard work and working with our county attorney. And I know our assistant county manager was also very involved in these processes. So wish to acknowledge that, and certainly reaffirm that this has been a very circuitous, no pun intended, journey. And 15% smaller document, good.
Hey, I'll take it.
And something that's more user friendly. Of course, that's part of one of our guiding principles is how do we provide the utmost customer service, and how do we make this stuff more understandable for the people we serve. Thank you.
County Manager Volker, did you want to say anything?
I will say, I know that this is public safety focused, but I do want to say that you took a very empathetic approach to folks who are having their road names changed. And the process that you've outlined really takes that customer experience in mind and balances that with the safety issue. So this is a much improved resolution than what you dealt with before. I hope it makes your life easier as well. It will make the community's life easier and better to understand. I want to thank both of you, Bill and Lori. You stuck with this for a long time, and you really did not take the direct route. We spent a lot of time meandering, making sure that all the right people were involved. And so thank you for that. You can check this off your list, and now you can go forth and implement this once it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions before we vote on this? All right. Commissioner Gonzalez, I'll ask you to make the motion on this item, please.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Commissioner Shattuck McNally can make the motion.
I move to approve the fourth amended Larimer County Road Naming and Site Addressing System Resolution.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take the rest of the day off.
Thank you. So we will move on to our county manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. I am happy to say that we have now, as a budget team, met with every department and office to prepare the 2026 proposed budget. You will get that by October 15th, as is required, but we're feeling pretty well prepared to get that done. We've had some great partnership conversations. I cannot thank the leaders of the county enough. I cannot thank the employees enough for the work they did generating ideas and kind of challenging the status quo. I'm very pleased with where we are, and I believe you will be as well. We've had a brief retreat on some highlights around it, but I think now we've got our direction and we're ready to move forward. So yay for that. Another milestone reached in this process. And last week we did some pretty exciting things I'll let you all talk about. We all attended the 47th Annual Conrad Ball Dinner and Award Ceremony and the Sergeant Jack Thurman plaque dedication down at the Loveland facility on Saturday morning, which was a very moving event. I think it sort of made my weekend. And then some more mundane things. I met, like I always do, with managers from other jurisdictions. I met with Loveland City Manager Jim Thompson, Fort Collins City Manager Kelly DiMartino, Timnath Town Manager Aaron Adams, and Poudre School District Superintendent Brian Kingsley. We always try to collaborate and coordinate on what we're doing so that we have fewer surprises among our jurisdictions. So that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorinda. Any questions or comments from Lorinda? All right. Well, we'll move on to Commissioner activity reports, and Commissioner Shannock McNally, I'll let you get started.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Lorinda. I know going through all those budget reports and items was a long and lengthy process, but very worthwhile and extremely important. And I appreciate all the diligence you and the team do to get that through and done. I'll start back on next Tuesday. As you all know, we had a full day, but I also wanted to share that I had some meetings with commissioners called from Chaffey County and Pitkin County. We had some more discussion on the DOLA's information about the land use items and their feedback, and also they wanted to ask some about our wildfire mitigation programs because I had just been there visiting, so we had a further discussion, and I wanted to share and just continue those discussions with them. On September 24th, I was very excited to be invited and attend with the Big Thompson Watershed Health Partnership that I attend monthly. And we went up to a private landowner's property that allowed us to come up. It was a partnership between the Estes Valley Watershed Coalition and the Coalition for the Upper South Platte River, and also the Coalitions and Conservatives group called COCO. And this was part of what they call a cold fire project, which uses locally harvested mushrooms to inoculate and break down woody biomass within 2 to 3 years. It's actually the mycelium that becomes mushrooms, and these are actually organisms that are grown in Jefferson County. So they're all local and they're native mushrooms and mycelium that you would find in the forest. But it's using nature to do what nature has always done to help accelerate and expedite. So we went up to check out the mulched piles, which is some fire mitigation over around Mary's Lake Road, where they mulched and had piles of these chip slash piles, and we inoculated these biomass piles with these locally harvested mycelium will turn into mushrooms. So it was very exciting and really fun to do that with our partners. And also Heidi Pruis and Josh Roberts joined us because they're part of also the health partnership. And I just wanted to share about that because that was really something cool and neat to see that local partnerships, and it's a local company, and these are done around the region now. And it's the reason it's called cold fire because they don't, like compost, they don't it doesn't get hot. The piles stay cold. And so these mushrooms, it's just something you would see where they decompose. So very exciting work. And I just wanted to share about that because that's happening in our county. And it's carbon capture and also puts nitrogen back in the soil, whereas burning the piles would take nitrogen out of the soil. So this is a win-win for soil health and our climate goals and other things. So I just wanted to share how excited I am about that. I did attend the Economic and Workforce Development Open House on the 5th floor. It's great to see the wonderful artwork from the film festivals and how welcoming and friendly and accessible it is for folks. And there was a lot of folks coming in to get help. There were some veterans and some folks doing resume reviews, and it was appreciate Mark Johnson and Marcy and all of them that invited us up and were so welcoming. I enjoyed that very much. And again, congratulations and well done to Eric Fried, our chief building official, retired last week, and that was a wonderful party in celebration of his decades of work here at Larimer County, and just wish him all the best. I'm very excited that after we had been at Poudre School District on Wednesday, a couple weeks ago on Wednesday, we went to Thompson School District for their emergency medical technician pathway open house, which is on the Thompson Career Campus, which used to be in Buren Elementary, and I was on long time ago on the committee that was a master plan committee in the DAC, which made those recommendations for some of those changes to change that into that career campus, and now to see the addition of that classroom and that pathway is really exciting. And the partnerships between Ames Community College and Thompson Valley Emergency Services, which that's where I did my previous EMT training, was a volunteer EMT. As a board, we gave I think $1 million to that, and Bohemian matched, and just to see all those students that were there. There's actually students from Estes Park that had come too. Actually, I had been with their parents earlier in the day planting mushrooms in the piles, so that was exciting to see them come down for that. We were kind of surprised we were at the same place again. But congratulations and thank you to Bohemian and all the partners in Thompson School District and Dr. Heller and everyone that was there. Very exciting, and the students were super excited as well, and really excited to see how that goes. We had our Community Advisory Board meeting on that evening. Great discussions all around. They were talking about their work plan, colleagues, and kind of looked over the bylaws. So it was a long discussion, and I just appreciate everyone on the advisory board and their engagement and their candor. It's a really great group of people. On Saturday or Thursday, something exciting happened. I went up to the John Cullen, the now former owner of the Stanley Hotel and and still owner of the Grand Heritage Hotel Group, had the governor and Jason Blum, who is a award-winning horror film producer, and there's a cult following him, I guess. I don't know all the horror movies that he's done, but there's several. There was a groundbreaking for the Stanley Film Center, Bloomhouse, up there for at the Stanley Hotel. The state has purchased some of that now, and it's very exciting to see how that all works. And we'll be learning more about the partnerships and how that works, and excited to be there and celebrate with the mayor and everyone else in the town. And there was a lot in the news, so I'll just let you all read about it because it is a lot of partnerships. But there also was a pathway for youth to come up and join the film center, especially from middle school, for youth to be exposed to filmmaking and the arts and things. So it's going to be an exciting project, and it will down the road have a connection to Sundance. When Sundance gets coming, there'll be a connection to Sundance in the future. I also attended the NOCO Fireshed Coalition meeting briefly, and it was our quarterly meeting. It was actually in Johnstown in the LIDA building. I was attending virtual, but it was a very important conversation, and there's still really great work happening there across the whole. They're out in part of Larimer, but they have work up in Boulder County and Jefferson County, and there's a lot of projects we're all watching. We had our regional opioid abatement meeting as Region 2. We're working on some work with the Butler Group to talk about how we score grant applications, follow grant applications, and what data we need to keep tracking. As you know, this is from the Purdue and other entities' opiate settlement. As it goes forward, the amounts of money we have to work for are going to be decreasing, and it's important work, but we approved there's only certain buckets that are approved through the federal settlement and kind of recommended through Johns Hopkins, and also approved and set up by the Colorado Opioid Council. And so we have certain buckets that we have chosen out of those that we're filling or focusing on harm reduction, prevention, recovery, those kinds of buckets. And so we approved the amount we think we're having in those buckets going forward. And so that was a big important meeting, and on the 25th. So colleagues, more work there. I went down to Denver to celebrate with Congressman Joe Neguse and others for the Champion for Democracy, for those who've worked on ensuring voting rights and successfully passing the voting rights work. And that was late on late Sunday or Thursday evening. But first we had the Open Lands Advisory Board and Park Advisory Board meeting, and there was some updates about and openings for the OLAB has their small grant applications opened. When we were at the MEVOS, I think I mentioned that they had got one of those small grant through the open lands, and it had a ripple effect, and these garden boxes and things, other one had started to copy throughout the whole mobile home park, but that came out of one of those small grants. It's a very small amount, but it helped kind of catalyze some work that's happening in the mobile home parks, especially in the Fort Collins area. So really excited to share that with Open Lands and Park Advisory Board. Saturday, I joined my colleague Commissioner Kafalis. I'm very proud to be at the Fort Collins Rescue Mission's groundbreaking for the Fort Collins Resolution Center. We were there with a lot of partners. Thanks again to Laura Walker for her work. That was another project that we gave our ARPA funds to, really important. And then, of course, I know my colleagues, so I'll leave that for them to speak about the 4th Annual Conrad Ball Awards. I'm super excited to be there and celebrate Tim Han and others. I really liked how we took a moment to celebrate all the nominees and read through their letters. It was, I think, one of the best years we've seen. It was very exciting to be a part of that ceremony on Friday. We all attended the La Familia Fiesta fundraiser for childcare and the Family Resource Center. It was great to sit down and talk with Pruder School District and other folks as we shared our discussions about childcare, and it was really great work. But in the morning, we also, I joined, as you mentioned, Lorenda, the Sergeant Jack Thurman plaque dedication, and appreciate the family coming and celebrating and allowing us to be a part of that dedication ceremony. I want to thank Michelle Bird and Lorenda, both of you, as your idea to kind of have that plaque and the beautiful pictures. And Michelle, was well done to make that organized. And thanks to also Karen for getting the balloons, and we celebrate his birthday outside. It was really meaningful. A lot of folks were very touched, and a lot of veterans that were there were very touched because they knew Jack for many, many years. And then, colleagues, I just wanted to share with you something personal that I accomplished over the weekend. Especially, I was out volunteering for Public Lands Day throughout some other projects, but I chose this weekend to finish my 100 miles of hiking in Rocky Mountain National Park. I could barely walk once I got done on Sunday, but I crossed that threshold. I'll continue to be hiking, but I did have a very successful hikes, and I've for over 12 years now, I've been hiking 100 miles every year, and so I was really excited to get that done over Public Lands weekend. And that's all I have to share. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Kafalis. Want to share anything?
Sure, why not? Just a little bit here. I think what I would have to add to what's already been said. Well, one is regarding the Economic and Workforce Development open house on last Wednesday. It was an interesting workshop. I was able to attend about 30 minutes of it, but the presenter talked about the use of AI in the job search process, and I didn't realize that was that's really a part of all of that, both from the employer's perspective as well as how one can use AI, from the person who's seeking employment. So that was an interesting workshop that I attended. I have the handout if anyone's interested in seeing that. The other thing on Wednesday that I should report on is that I attended the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting that morning, and the main presenter was a representative of the Northern Colorado Water Conservancy District talking about the NISP project, and a couple of takeaways from that presentation that I think are relevant for folks to hear. One is that the realignment of Highway 287 is scheduled to begin the fall of next year, 2026. Currently, there are 15 participants. Northern basically would operate and manage the project, which includes Glade Reservoir and potentially the expansion of Gallatin Reservoir. I think we're seeing that the number of participants is a bit fluid these days. They did talk about that so it would deliver 40,000 acre feet per year. There are two reservoirs, as I mentioned, 80 miles of pipeline, 7 miles of highway realignment, and they're in the process of completing and purchasing property from, I think, 6 landowners that would be impacted by the proposed reservoir and the realignment of the highway. I think the cost of the realignment of the highway, if my notes are accurate, is about $170 million. The overall cost as of last Wednesday is approximately $2.7 billion for the NISP, the Northern Integrated Supply Project. Glade would be 170,000 acre feet, which is a little bit bigger than Horsetooth Reservoir. They're looking to make adjustments. Most likely, the cities and water districts that are involved, the 15 or give or take participants, are not growing as fast, and that was a driver behind this project that's been going on for 20 years. Gallatin Reservoir, east of Greeley, I think it is, they had the proposal was to expand it from its current 40,000 acre feet to 85,000 acre feet, the Gallatin Reservoir, but they may have to scale that back. And then finally, regarding the NISP, the Poudre River settlement, it's $100 million, and that's to be paid in phases. The other thing that was brought up at the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting is that on Thursday, October 9th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the North Side Azatlan Center, there's going to be a North College Corridor open house, and they're going to talk about a variety of things, including the former grocery store site and some of the ideas there, other urban renewal projects, the North Mason stormwater system, which basically would impact where the homeless resolution center is being built. So that I wanted to bring that to people's attention. Other than that, I think most things have been covered. I want to give a little space for the chair, but it was a great event. The plaque dedication and the plaque unveiling and the dedication for Sergeant Jack Thurman. I think his family was very pleased. So I'm glad, thanks to Michelle and others who organized that. And I know our county manager had a hand in helping facilitate all of that. So that was wonderful. And I guess one other thing that I think I was the only one there, but and that is I was at the Sustainable Living Association fundraiser celebration. They've been in operation for 25 years, and they had a really nice event at Mishawaka Inn. And so I enjoyed that. I stayed there for a couple hours. I was one of the speakers in between the acts. Also, City Council member Tricia Canonico was also there speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, I think we've gone over quite a few things. I've attended almost all those same events that my colleagues did, give or take a few. So I'll just talk about the one unique thing that or one of the unique things that I did last week, which was the Urban Renewal Authority meeting that I had for the city of Fort Collins. One of the things that we're working on is a redevelopment strategy for 1636 North College, which many people know as the old Albertsons building. We are looking at sort of a tactical urbanism model for that. So that means basically activating that space, which should prevent further blight in that area. Abandoned buildings attract not such great behavior sometimes, and so really activating that space will start to not only prevent some of that maybe graffiti and other things that are happening there, but will also remind folks that we're working on that space and that we're getting ready to to move on that space. And then with regard to that space, really a new model that staff had presented, like a joint association. So really there was some concern about kind of turning over this building and not really, having a plan for it. That's not necessarily the Urban Renewal Authority's purview, is to have a plan for what happens in those spaces, is really to just prevent that blight. but creating sort of a joint authority that would sort of take over maybe more of a strategic plan, because it's quite a few acres. It's a big space. A lot of things have been contemplated there, including affordable housing, and a community center. And so really would help us sort of tie that up and make sure that there's a group that's sort of supervising and guiding that, how that space is used. So I think that is a really exciting, we're moving more towards really having that space be something special. And so really excited, because I think that, I've definitely been on urban renewal authorities for the past 10 plus years, and to really make what feels like a really big difference with regard to blight and creating community space that's valuable is something we haven't done before. It's very proactive for urban renewal authority to do that, and to think about having affordable housing, or a library, a spot for the library, a spot for nonprofits to be able to, maybe a mercado, different kinds of things that have been thought about in that space. That feels pretty good, because there are a lot of dollars there, and they can be used to sort of improve infrastructure. But how much bigger if we can make this a livable community space that keeps that community safe and engaged. That feels really good. So that is what's going on there, and we look forward to seeing how what kind of things can happen in that space. So with that, it is 9:56, and we have no other business to come before this board. So we are adjourned, and we'll see you next week, Larimer County.